Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Okay. I mean, that was a bummer of a hockey game, that's for sure. Um, the Oilers gave up a lead to one of the worst teams in the league, and they lost in overtime. The only consolation is a loser point, but it's a small consolation in a game they should have won. The grade A shots, Bruce, were 15-8 for the Oilers. 15 grade A shots for the Oilers, 8 for Columbus. But it was closer when it came to 5 alarm shots, the best shots. The Oilers had 7 and Columbus had 5. I would say Joonas Korpisalo, the Columbus goalie, stole that game. He made just an absolutely incredible save off Leon Draisaitl, for example, on
a few of them.
Executioner shot. He did. He was fantastic.
That was the best one, yeah.
And Stuart Skinner wasn't fantastic. He there was a couple goals that hurt, and he was. I think he was definitely to blame on one of them, but not his best game. So Bruce, we'll do our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. What is your good thing?
Yeah, I got to go with Derek Ryan out of this game. I thought he had a terrific effort that really stood out on an Oilers team that had a lot of players that were significantly less than 100% of their game for whatever reason. But Ryan was bringing it, and he scored the 1-1 goal on a speedy rush out of nowhere, and he saw a bit of a missed assignment, I think, by the Columbus defenseman, who was too far over to the one side. And when Puljujärvi won him the puck in the neutral zone, he burst in on the other side, and he finally did what no other forward seemed ever capable of doing in this game. He raised the puck. He got it more than 12 inches off the ice, because everything that was 12 inches off the ice went right into Joonas Korpisalo's pad. And Ryan put it right in up under the crossbar. Really nice shot to make it 1-0. But that aside, the Oilers were in absolute control of the game when he was out there. The shots on net at 5-on-5 were 10-1 for Oilers. Grade A or high danger chances were 5-2 Oilers, and the goals were 1-0, which was the one that he himself scored. And he even managed to win 4 out of 6 on the face-off dot, had a takeaway, and was rewarded with 15 minutes and 45 seconds of ice time, which is a big performance by Derek Ryan. And coaches recognized he was one of the guys going, so they gave him some extra time.
Yeah, it was kind of a game where some of the lesser unsung players did fairly well in this game, and some of the big guys failed to execute and didn't do as well. And my good thing is Jesse Puljujärvi. I thought it was his best game in a long time. Bruce, it was the first time, I think, this year where he looked like himself, fully looked like himself. Something's been missing with him. I don't know what it is, but he was really having fun out there and making plays. He started off the virtuous cycle leading to his own grade A shot with a strong forecheck and hit early in the first period. And Fogle put it into the slot for him, and he pounded that on net. Korpisalo had a pad down and got it. Later in the first period, he charged down the wing for another grade A shot. I think, now this might have been in the second where he got one, and he almost put in a pass from Hyman. And then he and Holloway tied for the lead in hits, 5 hits each. Yep. So the Hyman chance was that the second or the third? Anyway, that was a really great chance because Zach Hyman came swooping in, put it out front, and Puljujärvi went to the net and just managed to get his stick on his kind of backhanded at the net, and it was fairly high up in the air as well. Korpisalo was really solid down low. You got to shoot high to beat that guy tonight. Puljujärvi was unlucky not to score there. So the 5 hits that he and Holloway had, I just thought he was on the ball in a way that we haven't seen him play. And hey, if Jesse Puljujärvi can bring his A game like he did for the first half or the first 2/3 of last season, if he can bring that for the rest of this season, that would be huge for the Edmonton Oilers, because this guy can play hockey. he just hasn't been in sync all year long, and it's not too late to get in sync. And this game was an indication that might happen.
Yeah, he made a nice play to on the Ryan goal, just winning the puck in the neutral zone. And there was another play where he got the great shot himself, where Corpusalo really robbed him from the doorstep. That he started that play with a big hit in the corner on the forecheck.
That
One
was the
possession for
first.
the
That was the
yeah,
first grade
yeah,
A
that was the
shot. Yeah.
first one. And then he made a good play on the Ryan goal, and 3 shots, 5 hits, 2 block shots. Looks like a clean sheet with even plus minus. And of course, I thought he kind of got robbed out of an assist, frankly, on Ryan's goal. But unfortunately, it was his kind of unforced icing that was the predecessor to the 2-2. That he fired it a little bit too hard from really not under a lot of pressure. Shot it about, just slightly too hard through a hack weight when he needed to throw 4-foot weight, and
Yeah.
that wound up in a face-off, and those D-zone face-offs, man, those D-zone face-offs.
That was kind of the least of the problems on that goal against. I'm going to suggest that it was.
Well,
There's
it
some other.
created the face-off, and then the
It
face-off
did.
created the
It did.
disaster. So I'm just saying, I was in the fullness of the picture, which is very positive for JP tonight. The only little black mark was a small mistake that turned out to be costly.
Indeed.
So,
Bruce, what is your bad thing?
yeah, D-zone face-offs, man. I'll go with the first one. I'll leave you the other one. In the first period, when it was Oilers making all the shots in the early going, and Corpusalo holding them in the game, and they get a face-off in their own end. McDavid loses it clean. Puck goes back to the point, and I can't remember if there was one pass to the other point man. Anyway, the shot comes through from the point, and McDavid is skating near the goal scorer, the deflector of the puck, which was Boone Jenner, but he didn't take a stick. And Jenner kind of won a little stick battle and then got a stick on the puck and tipped it past Stu Skinner. So small mistakes. I mean, lost faceoffs are going to happen, but the Oilers lose a faceoff in their zone. The puck is coming at their net, seems like right away. And tonight, twice, 2 of those wound up in the back of the net. Both regulation goals for Columbus came off of lost draws and the D zone. And the Oilers were not, to me, shots notwithstanding, they were doing a real poor job winning the puck back in their own zone and a real poor job of passing the puck when they did have it in their own zone to get it the hell out of their own zone. And just too many soft plays on the puck.
Oh yeah, there was that wicked turnover by Bouchard early in the third period.
Oh,
Oh boy, I was wondering if we were going to see him on the ice again, Bruce. After that, that one with McDavid, that was one where I remarked on this a few games ago. This face-off play, it's not unusual actually for the center to follow the center to the net, and I think that's what happened in that play. But usually, yeah, you got to take the stick. But Darnell Nurse was out by the blue line covering somebody on that play. And I just wonder if there's not a way they can't switch off and have the defenseman cover the guy in front of the net and have the forward go out, because the chance of Connor McDavid taking the guy's stick is far smaller than the chance of Darnell Nurse executing such a play. Darnell Nurse is pretty good at executing those plays. He's on those guys. He hammers them. He takes them out often. It's not Connor McDavid's forte. And if you have a strategy,
come back, David. You froze.
play. Tyson Barrie, he's been playing pretty solid defense this year, and but not on that play. He just got beat out of the corner by a bigger guy. this Russian forward, Marchenko.
Mhm.
Powerful guy, and beat the veteran defenseman to the front of the net. And then Skinner kind of he bobbled it, couldn't thwart the guy, couldn't get a stick on it. As he's coming up from the corner, you'd like to see the goalie hammer out his stick and slash that puck off the
Mhm.
forward stick as he's coming. Skinner didn't succeed at doing that. And then he got Barry. I think Barry did push Marchenko into there was a nudge at least. There was definitely a nudge, and Marchenko wipes out Skinner to some degree and puts in the puck around him. It was a tough play for the goalie in that regard, but he should have. I think he should have thwarted it before then, like as the puck's coming right out, you don't let him come out. But that's what happened, and then there's kind of a borderline. Maybe could have been a call. It would have been. I don't think the Oilers would have won that. I think they would have lost because Barry did push the guy from behind into the goalie. And the puck's in the net, and it's 2-2. There's, the Oilers have given up their lead, and
Yeah,
the rest is loser point history.
they've been protecting leads during this streak, but tonight I felt like that lead was in serious jeopardy, just due to the various puck management issues. And again, there was a face-off loss on that play. And David, you froze there on my screen for about a minute just as you were
Same,
beginning
same,
that.
same. You froze on mine, but then you
Okay,
came back. So
so
I'm just hoping that
we may need to splice that minute out so we don't lose people. But well, that was obviously your bad thing that you were talking about there, which was the second
yeah, it was
Vancouver
Tyson
goal.
Barry
So
and Skinner's
hopefully,
play.
hopefully the commentary is intact and it's me that froze out. Anyway, we're back, uh, and that was yeah, it was just again just a little bit too soft around the net, and Barry was a big part of the problem for sure. And he should just not let guys bull out from the corner and go right into the goal crease like that. And it was one of those things. If Zach Hyman had did it, they would have reviewed it and called it back. But who knows?
Yeah.
It could have gone either way. And I guess Woodcroft thought we'll get the goal back. What we don't want to do is take a penalty and fall behind in the third period.
Well, that's
And
not a bad calculation from the coach. You have the
mhm,
better team, right?
in theory,
In theory, and not on this night, but yeah, in
well,
theory.
apparently not on this night.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Kind of a
Well,
clusterfuck game. Like, what a way to lose a game against such a poor team. And I just had that feeling, like you're right. Like right from the start, I thought the Oilers actually came up pretty strong early on,
uh-huh.
very strong early on, and they couldn't get a goal. They didn't get that first goal. That would have made all the
Mhm.
difference. And then CBJ gets this, they score on the California, right? The outside shot. That gets tipped in, and he just knew. I just like it was just like the longer the Oilers had gone without scoring, the more likely it
Mhm.
was, of course, that Columbus was
Yeah.
going to score on some.
Well, what's with this team on home ice, though, David? Like,
I don't know, Bruce.
like this is now 12, 11, and 3, which in English is 12 wins, 14 losses. Regulation, they're 9, 10, and 5, and they've won 2 of the 5 overtime games and lost 3. So no matter how you slice the record, they've lost more than they won on their home ice. And for a contender, that's just not acceptable. And they keep finding ways to lose to teams that are just way below them and way below them. I mean, this is Columbus. It was Anaheim one game that came in here and somehow stole the 2 points. And it was like, I mean, Woodcroft after the game was saying it was a very competitive game, yada, 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 yada. I did not think the Oilers competed on the level of the Blue Jackets in this game. I'm very disappointed in my team for their lack of response when Columbus pushed the play. Edmonton needed to push back, and I didn't see anywhere near enough of it. So I'm not happy with the team's performance. You take the 1 point and you move on. You kind of hope that somehow you find a way to win it in overtime. But even in the overtime, when they got the puck, they didn't want it. They just gave it back to them.
That was a
Just
rancid. That we're going to get to this. That was a rancid overtime for the Oilers, and some
brutal.
bad habits from the past came back to haunt them. And why don't I
Mhm.
just get to it now then?
Okay,
Let's do the numbers, and I'll go first because
this is going to be the third goal against, isn't it? We might as well keep the sequence going.
it is. And my number is 82. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was out there for an 82-second shift, including just before the puck crossed the blue line with CBJ had the puck for 28 seconds unmolested in the Oilers zone before they scored. And it was largely because Nugent-Hopkins, or partly because he was too gassed to make the play. He had been up and down the ice 3 times, and he had come close to scoring. But I think if he had been more on the ball, he could have shifted off. As CBJ was gaining the zone, it was a 2-on-2. Now, the Columbus defenseman may have rushed in the second he got off the ice, but if he had just he was skating back anyway. He just had to skate back. He had to cross. He would have had to cross the ice diagonally to get off, but he could have got off then, and he had already been out for 50 seconds, and he should have got off then. And that's a mental mistake by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, because Connor McDavid would have come on the ice then. And Nuge was too tired to make the play. And in the end, he was unable to shut down the shooter, who got off the outside shot that I think went through Nurse's legs. I'm pretty certain about that, and I think it may have deflected off Nurse. I'm not as certain about that. In any case, it was definitely a screenshot. Skinner didn't look good on it because it was an outside shot and not a particularly hard shot. But I think it was a pretty difficult shot, actually. That's my assessment of it, at least.
He got a piece of it, but he couldn't keep it out, eh?
Yeah, but I really think, Draisaitl had already been out there for like a 70-second shift to start the overtime. And I just thought right then, like, oh, here we go. Like, you guys never learn, do you? Like, this doesn't work out very well for the Oilers when you guys do that, when you start to take these 60, 70-second shifts in overtime. And then Nuge follows it up with the 82-second shift, and they score. And they had it coming.
Yeah.
They had it coming, Bruce. You do that, and you've got it coming, and you should. I'm sure the guy is a very conscientious player. Of that, I have zero doubt.
Right.
And I'm sure he knows that he didn't have enough gas in his tank at the end there to make the necessary play that he needed to make in overtime.
Yeah, well, there was a play there about 15 seconds before they scored, maybe, where Johnson, Kent Johnson,
yeah,
the Team Canada hero from the World Junior there last summer. He's a 20-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
And he skates the puck into Edmonton zone. He holds it at the top of the face-off circle in Edmonton territory. He's not like lollygagging around the neutral zone or behind his own net. He's in Edmonton territory with the puck. His 2 line mates both go off and change, and there's a triangle of 3 Edmonton Oilers around the guy with the puck, and not one of them makes a damn move on the puck. They just stand there and wait for the line change to come, and then the new guys come out and torch him for the goal. You got to want the puck. You got to want the puck, and when you get the puck, you got to want to keep the puck. That didn't happen in this game, which is going to be my bad thing. Shall we move to it?
Well,
sorry, my number.
Okay. Yeah, you've done your bad things.
It's 2 bad things. Well,
yeah,
I'm going to respond to your point with some numbers.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is average shift lengths in this game, in which there was 1 power play. So we can't say, well, the power play had 3 2-minute shifts, and that raised their average. There was 1 power play, and they scored. Average shift length for Edmonton forward: Zach Hyman, 1:07. Leon Draisaitl, 1:09. Dylan Holloway, 1:02. Connor McDavid, 1:11. 4 guys average over a minute per shift in a game that was almost entirely played 5-on-5. And there's something wrong with that. You're either chasing the puck around in your own zone, or you're not crisp in making your line changes, or you're giving the puck away so that you can't get off. Or it was, whereas last game, I think 55 seconds was the longest average for any player, and it was a D-man. And you start getting caught out there consistently too long, and as we saw in overtime, it can seriously cost you. So that's a number in response to your number. My numbers are 11 and 27. 11 is the number of icings by the Edmonton Oilers in this game, playing against Columbus on their home ice. They iced the puck 11 times. Explain that to me. Like, make a damn pass, like, and they they ice the puck, they'd lose the face-off. Columbus got a shot. Skinner frees it to be another face-off. They'd win it this time, and then somebody would ice it again under no pressure. So help me. So that's one of the reasons for long shifts is you ice the puck, you're not allowed to make a change. So 11. I mean, you have to go through the game sheet. That all it says on the game sheet is icing. It doesn't say which team
Oh
iced
yeah,
it.
okay.
It's like offside. And offside, you actually can't tell because all the face-offs that follow are in a neutral zone. But after an icing, you can check the next face-off. And tonight, Columbus iced it 6 times because there were 17 icings, and 6 of the face-offs were in Columbus territory, and 11 of them were in Edmonton territory following those icings. So I just had to sort of scroll through the game sheet, find all the icings, and see where the face-offs were. 11. But it's the worst of the season. And there's just no real good excuse for that. And speaking of which, 27 giveaways by the Edmonton Oilers. 27. And they had 10 takeaways. Columbus had 10 of each. Edmonton gave the puck away 27 times, and I'm not even sure that's not sort of a generously low count for the number of poor exchange passes into skates. Like their puck management in general was poor, and they had 9 different players with more than one giveaway. Bouchard 2, CC 2, Nurse, wait a minute, no, Janmark 2, Kulak 2, Holloway 3, McLeod 3, McDavid 4, and Skinner 2. 9 different players that coughed up the puck multiple times officially. And it just was I mean, Columbus did play, a kitty bar the door to some extent. But geez, this is a dynamic team that thrives on movement, pass receivers actually moving their damn legs, and passers actually hitting the target, and it just kept going sideways. I mean, Leon iced one where he missed one of those 10 feet passes that he makes over and over again, and somehow he fired it too hard, missed the receiver, probably McDavid, off the sideboards, down for icing. But I mean, that's just one of them. But it just was. I think I've probably made my point by now. A fairly poor showing by Edmonton in terms of puck management and game management. Guys, I'll
I
just
like the
include that.
I really like your lengthy shifts stats, Bruce. And I just added it to get at my game.
Well, I hate it, but yeah, I mean, as a
Because
stat,
I
it's
just
a
think it's
telling one.
very telling. That's a very telling stat. And in the end, it was the decisive stat, wasn't it? Because of Nugent Hopkins, and he wasn't even on that list of guys with length.
55 seconds for him, like that was relatively short.
Yeah. So, but that just shows. It shows like we want to hang out a little extra because we think we can. We're not really taking this team seriously. We're
We
not
want to
really
pad our
dialed,
stats rather than.
not really dialed in, is what that tells you, right? I think.
Yep.
I think
100%.
that's our comment. Alrighty, Bruce. Next game is Chicago Saturday night.
Chicago. Yeah, it's on
a
Saturday night.
Big game.
Home game against a weak team. What could possibly go wrong? Go wrong.
Oh my God.
I actually pity Chicago. Edmonton will probably be a little bit more focused for that one. But I'm a frustrated fan tonight, I can tell you.
I can sense that, Bruce. I'm honestly a little less frustrated than you are. I mean, I think the Oilers did get the better of the play. I thought they deserved the lead when they had the lead. They were the better team up until that point. I mean, Skinner made some couple great saves himself.
Mm-hmm.
And, Hyman scored a beautiful goal, and, it was 2-1, and I actually didn't expect CBJ to come back in that because I thought the Oilers were playing better hockey. So now the Oilers have 58 points. They've got one, and LA has 60 points in 50 games. The Oilers have 58 points in 49 games. Calgary has 55 points in 48 games. And anyway,
Calgary just beat Columbus in overtime on Monday, and they got, I thought, a serious benefit of a missed call in overtime, but nobody seemed to notice on the Flames broadcast when Mangiapane hauled down Laine with an obvious hook in the offensive zone. Calgary came right down and scored on the 2-on-1. But Calgary at least, they stumbled and bumbled their way through, but they found a way to win it in the end. And Edmonton didn't even find a way to get a shot on net in overtime.
Well, the Hurricanes beat the Stars in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kraken won 6-1 over Vancouver.
Yeah. Well,
not good.
Thing about these games against subpar opponents, you got to win them, and you got to take them seriously, and you got to treat your opponents with respect, and you got to treat your fans with respect, and give them a better showing than that. I'm more annoyed about that than anything, frankly. This consistent having their poorest games on their home ice.
Indeed. Well, Bruce, let's leave it there. Thanks for talking tonight,
David.
Thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you on Saturday.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult Hockey Podcast.